All right, had to start off with a little intro again by one of our listeners who created it. I'm trying to figure it out because when I run it through this editing thing, it doesn't work, but I have to work on that. See, I don't know. I'm wondering that I have it if I can compress it because it was on Wave and I need to compress it to MP3 or 4. If I can do that, which I need to find out if I can do that, and this is the stuff I'm trying to learn. I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm learning. Any of you know, tell me yes in the comments, no in the comments. And I'm definitely reaching out to that listener to get back to me. And he hasn't as of yet. And I know it's Easter weekend, or, so a lot of people have a lot to do with their families today. And if you have a lot to do with your families today, you might be very busy. I decided, since I really have gone into a hiatus, not about family and doing things with family, with about celebrating things that were given to us that are not really celebration. When I look at the stuff, and then even more and more seeing the stuff of here of what we've been given and handed down, I just, very reluctant to celebrate them things that I know are not so for me. Some people are not there yet. That's okay if you're not. You still want to go celebrate it. But we kind of see, I like the video we seen not long ago about the resurrection. It was the last one. I think it was Epistles of Sophia. I believe, I could be wrong. One of the Gnostic Gospels where it was mentioned, right? It was mentioned that you had to receive the resurrection in this life while living. And I was like, ooh, that makes sense. Which means you got to be awakened out of your sleepiness, hence in the state of being now. And many of you have, excuse me. So this is a very late Sunday. They call Easter Sunday. I just kind of chilled at home. And I think we're after 4 o'clock. And I decided just do at least 2 episodes. Pushing 3 if I can. But definitely 2 to get us to the next level where we need to go, to what we need to do and where we need to go. Because I really dug this first this reality of the rulers, what we read up to yesterday. And that's what we're doing. We're doing part 2 today. Reality of the rulers, part 2 will be today. So without further ado, I think we can just get to this. Instead of me, I could talk a little bit more. I do thank all you guys that are listeners. I do thank the growth of the channel. I do thank Riverside right here, right there, for having this platform, which helps me make the clips. If you know a lot, I'm going to contribute besides the Gnosticism that's been here, as people really seem to enjoy that. The clips have reached out, and a lot of the clips have got high numbers of volumes of watches out in clip land. And another thing I'm going to say, I will finish with this, and this is about here. We're on Spotify now. The release of a video will be released the same time, same day, but not the same time as YouTube. On our YouTube, because it's my first platform, 10:15 usually Eastern, Western, Pacific Standard Time, 1:15 Eastern for my Eastern folks, and I believe 12:15 Central, but 10:15 Pacific Coast, I will release it. 10:45, it will be released at TikTok, because we're Spotify and TikTok. If you go to TikTok, D-Boy West Coast Uncensored, you're going to see that I have a lot of stuff up on TikTok. All the clips, the full videos are up on TikTok. Spotify is one we need to really get engaged. Because it's not many people there on it. It's called the Connective Vibe. That's the difference. On Spotify, the name is, if you go to Connective Vibe, you will find me. The Connective Vibe channel is West Coast Uncensored on Spotify. You will see the same symbol that you see that we have, and you will see all those types of things there. So Spotify, TikTok, and YouTube. TikTok, 10:45 Eastern, 7:15, 2:15 Eastern, Spotify, and 1:15 Eastern, 10:15 Pacific, YouTube. So they're spread out 30 minutes, staggered 30 minutes. YouTube first, TikTok, and then Spotify will be exactly 1 hour after started on YouTube. So go, if you're a Spotify person, you can catch us on Spotify. Just had to get that out. We are on Spotify. So without any further ado, I'm not going to keep elaborating. This video, I was just enthralled with this, nor with the reality of the rulers. And let's get to it. When we left off, I was like, this is some mean street stuff. I really liked it. So let's get to it. We're getting to this early. Before I get to it, let me do something real quick, and that's make sure my layout's good. my layout. Split screen. Let's fill it. That's good. All right, let's go ahead and get to the screen, and we will start this. The reality of the rulers. Let's see where we left off at. All right. You see, I have to do this differently with me. I thought I could just tab it here, but nope. I'll put it up. I know I'm still there. Let's go down because I know we're farther down. We're getting ready to see the next level is Sophia, the flood. I know we didn't go very far. Noria was born, Adam and Eve in the garden. Eve bears children, passes the flood. No, and I think we went through the flood, right? This is where we left off, I believe, right here, the flood. And I think we left off right here. Yes, right here at Noria battles a ruler. We did do this because this is where we were at. Elith came forth in that, yes, the revelation of Elith. This is where we're at. So I'm going to do, I really like this. I don't know. I have not searched how much is in this book. Let's search and see how far this book goes. Wow, it's not far. We'll be done by today. Okay. Is that it? Let me go back and see. I think that's it. So this is not a long book. So we'll go back to Pistis. We'll also do the other book is Pistis is longer, and I believe so is the rulers of the Sophia of Jesus Christ is a little bit longer. Some of these books are short, so that's why we can get through them fast. Okay, this is not a long book. We will be done very, very soon. Now, as far as the angel, let me make this a little bit bigger, even for me. Yeah. Let's go. Now this is called the revelation of Elith, who showed up to help her and then was going to train her in the story. Let's see. I think this is the training. Now as for the angel, I cannot speak of his power. His appearance is like fine gold. His raiment is like snow. No, truly, my mouth cannot bear to speak of his power and the appearance of his face. Elith, the great angel, spoke to me. It is I, he said. Who am I understanding? I am one of the four luminaries who stand in the presence of the great invisible spirit. Do you think these rulers have any power over you? None of them can prevail against the root of truth, for its account has appeared in the final ages, and these authorities will be restrained, and these authorities cannot defile you and that race. For you abode is incorruptibility, where the virgin spirit lives, who is superior to the authors of chaos and their universe. So this is right here. Elith is telling Noria, you come from a place they have no spot in. You come from a whole incorruptible place. You are not from their world. You are not part of them. They have no authority over you. In fact, they can't touch you. They have no authority over you. This makes sense. This was why it's called the reality of the rulers. It was the reality they couldn't touch her. That there was a space higher than them that they had no jurisdiction over. And this was Noria's space, coming from that higher space, coming from the pleroma and being birthed from the pleroma, because in their proceeding wanting to rape Eve, I put it in the comments of yesterday, strong delusion was sent of something they created, which was an image, and that's what they pursued on the image, not really Eve. The deception or a strong delusion was sent to them. Makes sense? A strong delusion was sent to them. And think about that. By the higher realms was sent to them, and they trespassed on something they had created themselves. And they said they actually, through this, had condemned themselves to a lower vibration. I'd say a lower vibration of frequency to me. They could not touch the higher realms. It actually condemned them from going to the higher realms. Let's see. But I said, sir, teach me about these authorities. This is Nora, right? After she's told that she's superior. The authorities of chaos into their universe can't touch her. They have no authority over her. They can't touch her. But I said, sir, teach me about these authorities. How do they come into being, and by what genesis, and out of what material? Who created them and their power? The great angel Elith's understanding spoke to me. Incorruptibility inhabits limitless realms. Sophia, who is called Pistis, wanted to create something alone without her partner, and what she created was celestial. The veil exists between the world above and the realms below. A shadow came into being beneath the veil. The shadow became matter, and that shadow was projected apart. And what she had created came to be in matter. Likened to a aborted fetus, it assumed a space molded out of a shadow and became an arrogant beast resembling a lion. It was androgynous as I have already said, because it derived from matter. Opening his eyes, he saw a vast quantity of endless matter, and he turned ignorant, saying, I am God, and there's no one beside me. When he had said this, he had sinned against all. And the voice came from the above realm of the absolute power saying, you are wrong, Samuel. That is the God of the blind. Wow, this is the whole story of the blind leads the blind, and they fall down, fall into the ditch, meaning look at that word ditch. What is a ditch? Let me look that up. We got time here because we're going to be done with this pretty quickly. Let's look at this word ditch. I want to see what ditch is meaning, because I see it falling down even to a lower realm from where you were because of this condemnation you had created. A narrow channel dug into the ground, typically used for drainage alongside a road or edge of the field. A narrow channel dug in the ground, typically used for drainage alongside a road or edge of a field. Their car was plunged out of control. Wow. I'm going to even go to another state. It may not be there, but let's see if we can find it. I'm going to go to etymology and see real quick if ditch pops up. I bet it does. Ditch, not Dutch. Oh, okay. A trench made by digging, especially a trench for draining wet land. English, ditch, dike, a variant of dike, which meant an excavation, but later English was applied to a ridge or a bank of earth thrown by excavating a ditch, also called a defense wall. And the earth dug out of the ground, making a trench, is heaped up the side of the ditch and the bank are constructed by the same act. And it is not surprised that the two should have been confounded under a common name. This is heavy to me because I see something else in this. The ditch and what happens to the water when you put it in a ditch, it has no movement. It becomes what? Stagnant. Ditch is mid 14th century Middle English. Dinge as ditchwater meant foolishly proud. Wow. There's your answer to the depth of this. This goes along what he was, arrogant, foolishly proudful, but then went into a stagnant water, dirty water place, fell into a lower realm. And this makes even sense that in the Hebrew language, it talks about in the creation that it smelt like piss. That would be the stagnant water of Yad-Baal in his curse and their curse that they could not rise. They did not know the higher realms and they fell into a ditch. And that's the God of the blind here. When he says, Samuel, that is the God of the blind. And he said, they are the thing that exists before me. Let it become invisible to me. Immediately, Sophia pointed her finger and introduced light into matter, and she pursued it down to the region of chaos. She returned up to her light. Once again, darkness returned to matter. The ruler, by using androgynous, made himself a vast realm, endless precinct. And he contemplated creating offspring for himself and created 7 offsprings, androgynous like their parent. And he said to the offspring, I'm God of all. Zoe, the daughter of Pistis Sophia, shouted, saying to him, you're wrong, Sakla, for which the alternate name is Yad-Baal. She breathed into his face, and her breath became a fiery angel for her. That angel bound Yad-Baal and cast him down into Tartaros, the bottom of the abyss. That goes with the ditch. The blind, he's the God of the blind. Lead the blind, and they fall lower places into the ditch, the bottom of the abyss. Wow. I see that. Now, wow. Bound him. The angel bound Yad-Baal and cast him down into Tartaros at the bottom of the abyss. Let me look up Tartaros real quick. I'll get reading. But I want to look up Tartaros. I want to know what Tartaros means. Y'all, you're here with me. Tartaros. Where's Tartaros at? Tartaros. How do I spell that? Tartaros. Often associated with chaos and the abyss. A place Tartaros in a deep, sunless, located below Hades. Serving as a prison for titans and the realm of punishment for wicked. Wow. It's below Hades, into an abyss below hell, below. Wow. Tartarus considered one of the first entities alongside Chaos, Gaia, and Eros. This is heavy. That's probably a Greek story. And this is really all connected to Greek stories. Even when we start looking into the canonized version, Jesus flying up in the air with the wings, flying on a horse. It's definitely mythology, right? So let's get to reading again. Wow. But he was the bottom of the abyss. Now when his offsprings saw the strength of that angel, he repented and condemned his father. That would be Sabbath. And that's heavy because I see Sabbath, it reminds me of Sabbath, right? Sabbath reminds me of Sabbath. Repented and condemned his father. I'm going to look up that word, but not now. But when I look up that word, I will put it on the screen when I edit this. Don't let me forget. And he repented and condemned his father and his mother in matter. He loathed her, but he sang songs of praise up to Sophia. Wow. And her daughter Zoe. Remember, Zoe means a place of total spirit and love, higher self. I believe that's what Zoe means. Place of higher realms. Zoe. Well, let me look up Zoe to get it. I want to get specific on Zoe. Zoe. Life. For eternal life and divine present and abundant life. That's Zoe. Life. It's divine, eternal, abundant life, distinct from physical existence. Distinctly different from physical existence. Definitely pleroma and true self aspects. Since I'm here, I might as well look up Sabbath. And I'll get to reading. This book wasn't big, so that's why I'm doing this. This book was not as long as I thought it was. Hebrew word meaning host of armies. Okay, host. So what you look at when you see the host of armies, he repented. Now when Sabbath, the strength of the angel, repented and condemned the father and his mother, Yada Baoth, right? He loathed her, but he sang songs of praise to Sophia and her daughter. So even this realm of this one, his son, Yadabeel's son, got a taste of the life and was conformed and changed. Sophia and Zoe found him and put him in a charge of the seventh heaven, below the veil between the above and below. And he called God of the forces, that makes sense with what I just read, forces of army, since he is up above the forces of chaos. He's like the first defense against the chaos for the higher realms in that middle place. For Sophia placed him there. Now, when the events had come to pass, he made himself a huge four-faced chariot of a cherubim, harps, lyres, and an affinity of angels to act as ministers. Sophia took her daughter Zoe and had her sit at his right hand to teach him. Here's another feminine aspect. Heavily in the Gnostic, the feminine aspect. It makes sense to me. And when you ask why does it make sense, we can't, for a lot of especially men, don't look at this physical. Even men have the feminine aspect of themselves within them. When you're operating in your other side of yourself, when you're activated, having abundance mindset, you're picking up clairvoyance, intuition, knowing things, revelation, your gnosis is activated. That's all considered feminine principles that you've actually merged within yourself, your male aspect logic and some of the order, which the male aspects are, you've combined them with that which comes from that which is not seen, the feminine aspect. And guess what you get? You get a wholeness aspect of yourself. You become complete. Does that make sense? It does to me. And we know that what we've seen in the last 2000 with this story about how they're saying this is, guess what we're seeing? We're seeing a total realm of male dominant aspects just crunching and devouring and putting down the feminine aspect from the killing of witches who were just healers. Right? When they went on these witch hunts, we've seen it. They called them pagans. The word means villager and a farmer. Very good things to have. Very things connected to nature. They were trying to kill out things connected to nature. The feminine aspect. I had said many times when they do their little retreat every summer over here in Northern California, right? Where the owl and all that, they have there's this ritual they do, and it's called the destruction of, no, what is it called? I can't even remember what it's called now. It's called the something of care. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting it. But it's really the suppressing care, because the feminine aspect would be Zoe, Sophia, which is after Sophia's fall and her restoration, she's trying to bring light into the mistake she made by the creation of this lower realm of matter that came from her mistake, which actually is somewhat her child, Yaldabaoth. Hence, she's going into a restoration. It's a feminine aspect that would draw you into those spaces. And balance is for the man and the women. We both have the negative and positive electrical connection, which is feminine and masculine, like your car battery. You can't charge your car if it's dead and only say, I'm only doing the plus, I'm only doing the positive. Guess what? You won't get charged. You got to put both of them on there and charge them up, the negative and positive, feminine and masculine. They try to suppress it, but this gospel, as we look at it, is heavily painted with the feminine. I mean, Sophia's a goddess. Come on now. I see it. Called her life. The life was, watch this, where are we at? Her daughter, to teach him things in the eighth heaven. And the angel of the wrath she placed to his left, at his left, since that day his right has been called life, which would be Zoe, and his left was signified unrighteousness of the realm of the absolute power above. It was before your time that they came into being. Now, when Yadabaoth saw him in his great splendor and his height, he envied him. The envy became something androgynous and was in the origin of envy. And envy engendered death, and death engendered the offspring and gave each of them charge of heaven. Envy engendered death. This is and let me see, became something androgynous, and this was the origin of envy. Envy engendered death. Death engendered his offspring and gave each of them charge of its heaven. All the heavens of chaos became full of multitudes. So even when you look at the chaos aspect of what out of there, it's called heavens. He created higher realms and the lower realms, with him even being in a place of the abyss underneath Hades, hell, and gave him charge. And all the heavens and chaos became full of multitudes. But this was by the will of the Father of all that all came into being after the pattern of things above. The copy, that's why I've said copycats. But they're very good at copycatting. And the deception with their copycatting deceives the multitudes, so that the sum of chaos might be attained. There I have taught you about the pattern of the rulers and the matter which was made invisible along with their parent and their universe. Let's go down the epilogue. Okay, there's more. Is there more? No, okay, there's one more. The epilogue. I dig this. This to me is really, really good stuff. I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is really, really good stuff to me. Let's see where you are in time. I think this is the last part of it right here. We're going to read, but this is where I want to see where we are in time. Oh, we're good. We're perfect. We're really perfect in this. We are perfect in this. Perfect, perfect, perfect. But I said, sir, I'm also from the matter. You together with your offspring are from the prime evil father. Their souls come from the above out of the incorruptible light. Therefore, the authorities cannot approach them, since the spirit of truth resides in them, and all who have known this may exist deathless in the midst of dying people. Still, the offspring will not become known now. Instead, after 3 generations, it will come to be known and free from the bondage of authorities and error. Then I said, sir, how much longer? He said to me, until the moment when which the true human within a model form reveals the existence of the spirit of truth that the Father was sent. Then he will teach them about everything. He will anoint them with the unction of the life eternal, given him from the generation without a king. And they will be free of the blind thought, that would be Yadabaoth, and they will trample on death, right? Which comes from the authorities of the rulers, right? And they will ascend into the limitless light, the higher realms, where the offspring belongs. When the authorities will relinquish their age, the angels will weep over the destruction of their demons, will lament their death. Then all the children of light will truly know the truth and root and the Father of all and the Holy Spirit. They will all say with a single voice, the Father's truth is just, the child presides over them, and from everyone till the ages of ages, holy, holy, amen, the reality of the rulers. Wow. I absolutely loved. We just had to do 2 parts. I could have did this in one, really, if I just got to it yesterday. But I ended up, going 11 minutes on my own. I mean, I could almost finished it yesterday. But the reality is now part 2 is really, really good. This more and more connects with me. I'm surprised that when I came out of traditional church in 93, when I really started the waking up process, and then they told me you can't stay here with what you're telling the people and what you're seeing now and what you're saying is not against, goes against our doctrine. Of quit saying it, you can stay, go. But if you keep saying it, you got to split. And I said, I'm gone. I knew that what I received was truth, and I was not going to sell out my truth for a church, for an indoctrination. So this was 1993 that this happened to me in the city of Merced, California. Yeah, in that city. So let me go ahead and stop sharing. Yeah, this happened. That happened, like I said, 1993. And when I went in the Kingdom Message, which is a type of Christian esoterica, but we used the Canaanite version and revelated and shared the revelations from that. Some people went a little deeper into some other things, but even that, there were some that were hesitant, some that kind of put a block even after they went so far, some that were open to learn more as the revelation knowledge came. I mean, I started work, I'm just going to say this real quick, in Washington. Helped out another Kingdom Message in Washington. 2012, 12, 13, I went to the next level and had to walk away from even the Kingdom Message. And it was the best thing that happened in my voyage now was to go, because I opened up then to Buddhism. I really went deep into meditation and even, and stuff like that. And even changed the diet, lost weight, did some stretching, did some yoga, just changed and really adopted and really started studying Eastern mysticism, or the Eastern religions. And then as I started looking at Buddhism, Taoism, and some of the East and Middle East, then I even seen the esoteric in that, which is not the easiest to find because the East doesn't share it like the West does. The East, China, will guard it, even though it's kind of been stamped out of the people. Not kind of, let's be honest, stamped out of the people win with communism, because that's what communism does. But anyways, I love this. This was great. Appreciate everybody. Share, like, subscribe. That will be on the screen. Please give if you can, and if you feel led, that will be on the screen. D-Boy WCU, Daniel Abril with Daniel having a capital D and Abril having a capital A. But I appreciate those who are connected and listen all the time. I thought this was going to be a long one, but we're done with the rulers. But this too, part 1 and 2 was dynamic. What do I do next now? Wasn't prepared for next. I haven't read all of this. I'm actually reading with you for the first time. Some of these, really reading with you guys all for the first time. But you guys have a great day. Before we do that, let's do this. I can do this real quick. And you say, what are you doing? I am putting what this is called here in this video. Part 2, the reality God of the rulers. I like this because it really showed the rulers' limitation of not being Noria. They could not touch Noria. And there's another book called The Thought of Noria, where she goes into dealing with them in a whole different manner of dealing with. But you guys have a great, great day, and we will be back with some more.